Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, and we hope that after the informative video about e-commerce security threat, you guys have been ready to discover the case study of Facebook data flash. Sound interesting, right? So let's go to the end to find out more about this Facebook scandal and learn how it affects the e-commerce activities. Obviously, the case of Facebook is a data breach scandal, which occurs whenever organizations lose control over corporate information or to outsiders. So, now we will talk a little bit about data breach. There is a universal assumption that a data breach is caused by an outsider hacker, but that is not always true. Reasons for how data breaches happen might sometimes be tracked back to intentional attacks. However, it can just as easily result from a simple oversight by an individual or flaw in a company's infrastructure. Here's some major causes how a data breach can occur. First of all, it is an accidental insider. An example for this could be an employee using a co-worker's computer and reading files without having the proper authorization permission. The access is unintentional and no information is shared. However, because it was viewed by an authorized person, the data is considered breached. Another reason is a malicious insider. This person purposely access or share data with the intent of causing harm to an individual or company. The malicious insider may have legitimate authorization to use the data, but the intent is to use the information in nefarious way. Another reason is loss or stolen device. An unencrypted and unlocked laptop or external hard drive, anything that contains sensitive information, goes missing. Last but not least, another reason is malicious outside criminals. They are hackers who use various attack vectors to gather information from a network or an individual. So, what kinds of data are usually leaked? Business data only becomes a target when it is of value to a third party. Different kinds of data are more or less valuable to third party and represent different levels of risk to a business. The different types of data include the following. First one, personally identifiable information. This includes data such as social security numbers, contact information, birth date, education, and other personal information. Second one, financial information. This includes charge card number and expiry date, bank account, investment detail, and similar data. Health information is also the type of data can be leaked. This includes detail on health condition, prescription drug, treatment, and medical records. Intellectual property. This includes product drawing and manual, specification, scientific formula, marketing text and symbol, proprietary software, and other material that the business has developed. Competition information, including data on competitor, market studies, pricing information, or business plan. Legal information. This includes documentation on court case the company may be pursuing, legal opinion or business practice, merger and acquisition detail, and regulatory rulings. The last one is IT security data. This includes lists of username and password, encryption keys, security strategy, and network structure. This type of information attracts the attention of third parties for whom the data has value and put significant impact on the stakeholder. For individual, identity theft is a major threat to data breach victims. Data leaks can reveal everything from social security number to banking information. Once a criminal has the detail, they can engage in all types of fraud under your name. Theft of your identity can be ruin your credit, being you with legal issues, and it is difficult to fight back against. Furthermore, financial and health information can be sold and used for marketing, spending, and so on. And for business organizations, a data breach can have a devastating effect on an organization's reputation and financial bottom line. Intellectual Intellectual property can be sold and used to develop products and services similar to those of your business. Competitive information can be sold and used by competitors to plug companies' claims, and leaked legal information may damage its legal position. Data on IT security is a valuable target itself because it lets the authorized party get access to all the other types of information on the system. Organizations such as Equifax, Target, and Yahoo, for example, have been the victim of data breach. And today, many people associate the company for the data breach incident itself, rather than the actual business operation. Last but not least, for government organizations, compromised data can mean exposing highly confidential information to foreign parties. Military operations, political dealing, and details on essential national infrastructure can pose a major threat to government and its citizens. While these are common cause, the harm done by data breach can extend far beyond this situation. Below are some key statistics about data breach. In 2021, 85% of breaches involved human element. 61% were due to stolen or compromised user credentials. Social engineering was observed in over 35% of incidents. An average cost of data breaches is 3.33 million, while it takes an average of 239 days to identify and contain malpractice.
So next, I'd like to show you some brief statistics about Facebook. So firstly, about the users. Facebook monthly active users was 2.8 billion people, equivalent to about 1/3 of the world's population, as you can see in the slide. Facebook's daily active users is 1.84 billion people, and in Vietnam particularly, the total Facebook's users is 76 million people, which accounts for over 70% of the overall population of Vietnam. And in terms of the average time spent on Facebook, the number is 19.5 hours per month. So regarding the market share, undoubtedly, Facebook is the king of social media, as nearly 60% of social media users are using Facebook. In terms of revenue, Facebook advertising revenue was calculated as 27.2 billion in ad revenue in the fourth quarter of 2020. So about the e-commerce merchants in Facebook, currently Facebook has more than 200 million small businesses around the world using its tools such as Facebook page or Facebook ads. And a large amount of that is e-commerce merchants. So as we have seen from the timeline in the next slide, just 3 years after Facebook's first launch, they have encountered the first problem related to users' data privacy. So in December 2007, Facebook's first big brush with advertising privacy issues to use that data for the Beacon project. So Facebook could track purchases by Facebook users and then notify their Facebook friends of what had been bought for many times without any user consent. So in 2011, Facebook settles a Federal Trade Commission privacy charge because it didn't keep its privacy promise to users by allowing private information to be made public without warning to the purpose of a third party. So in 2013, Facebook bug exposes private contact information. So ABUG exposed the email addresses and phone number of 6 million Facebook users to anyone who had some connection to the person or knew at least one piece of their contact information. And from 2015 to 2018 is the Facebook scandal with Cambridge Analytica and about Facebook users' data being used by this company and many other apps developers. So especially in 2018, the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, broke his silence and made an apology about Facebook's notion of massive data theft, but it did nothing to prevent it. And from 2019 to 2021, more than 500 million of Facebook users' data were reported leaked on the underground website of cyber criminals. And it is also the case study that we want to discuss today. So this case happened in 2019, but it re-emerged in April 2021 on an underground website of cyber criminals, as I mentioned above. So they found 533 million Facebook users' information, including full names, phone numbers, Facebook ID, location, birthday dates, or even email address that has been leaked outside. So do you remember the statistic we talked about earlier about 2.8 billion monthly Facebook users? So in this case, the number of over 500 million data accounts for nearly 20% of total Facebook users. It's really a big number to think about, right? So in terms of reasons of this case, we have to trace back to 2019 when Facebook discovered about the data breach and immediately solved the problem, which was stated by a Facebook spokesperson that they have found and fixed the issue in August 2019. At that time, the company addressed a flaw in its technology and allowed the information to leak out. So this is truly a wake-up call for everyone to be more aware of what information that we share online. And let's find out more about how the information can be leaked out. So we must be aware that we have a so-called digital footprint when surfing or browsing online. So the digital footprint is the trail of data you create while using the internet, including the website you visit, the emails you send, and the information you submit online. Hence, the website, or in this case, Facebook, can log your IP address, which gives your estimated locations and track your movement, along with other online activities such as searching history, regularly visited pages and accounts. Facebook can target you with the feed advertisement content and types. So it is how the digital marketing system is working. It's like the underlying agreement with the platform and you to use their service. But what is more important is once the data is leaked, it's hard to 100% delete it. Like in this case, after 2 years, which is in 2021, we still found the old data since 2019 available online, which emphasize Facebook's ability to handle cybersecurity threats. So the consequence of this case is like if cyber attackers use these techniques to steal your personal information, they can use it for any financial objectives such as blackmailing users, identity fraud, or it can relate to some political issue if the information leaked contains any confidential or government-related documents, or in the case of Cambridge Analytica, trying to manipulate the US 2016 presidential election from Facebook's users' data. So talking about the result of this case study, we have Facebook Respond, which is until now, there's still not any official response from Facebook, but in an attempt to downplay the public's worry a Facebook employee tweeted that it is just the old data which has been fixed since 2019, but this opinion was crushed by other Facebook users, stating that their personal information such as date of birth or full names cannot be set as old data, and expressed their frustration as Facebook hasn't had any movement to fix this case since then. And about the policy of Facebook, since the very first days of Facebook's data breach scandal, Facebook has been on the same side with their users to protect their identities online through newly launched policy such as the rules changes in 2014 with a view to limiting developers' access to user data. However, since then, and after the high-profile scandal between Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, Facebook hasn't made any attempts to propose new regulation to prevent cyber attacks on the internet, which is also a key point to consider in this case.
As we know that the exposed data includes the personal information of over 533 million Facebook users from 106 countries, including over 32 million records on users in the US, 11 million on users in the UK, and 6 million on users in the India. It includes their phone number, Facebook ID, full names, location, birthday, bio, and in some cases, email addresses. The data of private information is available on the dark web for anyone to sift through. CTO of cyber intelligence firm Hudson Rock in early January 2021 confirmed that this data was now being sold on various groups at the cloud-pay messaging at Telegram. Recently, the data set seems to be popping up on various hacker forums all across the internet. Although there have been no official reported consequences of the scandal, we can expect some consequences of Facebook users whose information has been leaked. First, stolen information means that their privacy is at risk of being infringed. The stolen information can be used to send unwanted spam email, telesale, targeted marketing, mail phishing campaign. It can be used to plot and execute various nefarious online fraud schemes. Hackers can impersonate users and transfer cash on their behalf without their knowledge. Moreover, phone numbers being publicly available is a particular concern at a day and age when they are used widely for identity verification, digital present. Most digital services, including online payment nowadays, require phone number where authentication codes are sent for verification. It is serious when phone numbers are out there. The danger when you have phone number in particular is a universal identifier. Another threat is probably phishing, where accurate data can be included in the spam message to add credibility to the attack. To Facebook, it is obvious that reputation of the technology company has worsened in the eyes of public. Many netizens have announced that they will stop using the biggest social network, or even maybe big partner of Facebook has decided to end advertising on the network. Although in this case, Facebook has not paid for any penalties. In the previous data scandal, Facebook has had 5 billion fine in the Cambridge Analytica data breach scandal in 2018.
In terms of recommendation, this 1,553 million data leaked is a wake-up call for everyone to be more aware of what information we shared online. Similar to this information leaked, we must be aware that we have a so-called digital footprint when surfing or browsing online. We must be aware that data like this is so easy to be leaked online. Information in this later is mostly public information in Facebook that is accessible to anyone. A lot of public information on your Facebook that can be easily seen or accessed by someone else can be used against you, like to hack your account or to clone your account. To avoid that, you must revisit your Facebook privacy setting and make your Facebook account information private. Be careful of what you share on social media and all of the permissions to sign in to untrusted site with your Facebook account. Don't forget to secure all of your devices and account and be mindful about the permission to access the information on your mobile phone. Try to have a positive digital footprint for your own sake. Unfortunately, in terms of information on social networks as a whole, Vietnam does not have a single national data protection authority. Instead, the authority on state management of certain respect of information has been given to a number of competent state authorities. In this case of Facebook, according to Vietnam legal framework on violations on consumers' rights, an administrative penalty of between 10 million and 20 million Vietnam dong may be imposed for failing to protect and maintain a complete and accurate version of personal data when collecting, using, or transferring the data, and also on the failure of transferring a data subject's personal data to a third party without consent. In order to further boost e-commerce and create favorable mechanisms for solution or disputes in e-commerce, Vietnam needs to issue regulations on the legal validity of evidence, the methods of managing social networking sites engaged in e-commerce business, as well as mobile device, impose penalties corresponding to violations, and on the collection of electronic data by competent authorities in order to timely settle disputes in e-commerce. So that is the end of our video about the Facebook's case study. Thank you for listening.